Okay. Okay. Who does the ban affect / not affect? Okay. The ban affects people that live in banned states that are not members of law enforcement. And believe me, in New York State, cops, their personal guns, they buy 50-round drum magazines for the AR rifles. They buy collapsible stocks on their rifles. They buy 15, 16, 17, 18-round handgun magazines. All legal. They're a cop. They're allowed to have a 2,000-round magazine for their duty guns. They're allowed to have a 2,000-round magazine for their personal guns. Or you could go to the street and buy pre-ban stuff. Whatever. Now, if you have a gun that was made post-ban, let's say you have the M&P 9 and M&P 40. That's more than 10 rounds, but it's post-ban. So you can't find the pre-ban magazine. Same goes for the Smith & Wesson SD, self-defense guns, 9 and 40. And the same goes for the XD, the Springfield XD line. No pre-ban. Maybe if there's some magazine somewhere that might fit, make sure it does. Don't fucking make a mistake. If you have a magazine that was made by someone somewhere, and that magazine is the exact same dimensions as the Springfield XD or the M&P 40 or M&P 9 full size, you might want to check with a gunsmith. But if it fits, use it. If it don't fit, can't use it. There's no such thing as a post-ban XD magazine. Pre-ban XD magazine, my bad. Okay, so you're fucked. You're either gonna buy a gun with less than 10 rounds in it, or you're gonna suffer with a 10-round magazine. What do you want? Don't look at me, look at them. Now, I had a viewer ask me a question one time, very good question. I have an armed guards license. I do. Doesn't that mean I don't have to comply with the ban? No, it does not. Okay. Here's when the ban does not apply to you. If you work for the government could be state, federal, city, town, county, village. You work for the government, number one. And you have a job that requires you to carry a gun. Your job says you must have a gun. Cop, police officer, probation officer, parole officer, court officer, corrections officer. If those two things apply to you in my state, I don't know about your state, if those two qualifications apply to you, work for the government, carry a gun. You can buy anything you want without any regard from the ban. You probably can't buy a fully automatic machine gun, but you could buy a high capacity magazine, you could buy a forward vertical grip for your AR rifle, you could buy collapsible stock, you could buy whatever. Flash suppressor, whatever. You can. Now, peace officers, okay, a fireman. A fireman takes the fire test. A fireman fills out an application this thick, just like a cop. If the fireman is called off the hiring list, he has to give fingerprints, have an extensive background investigation, have a psychological exam, go to the fire academy, which is harder than the police academy, and he enforces fire law. In addition to fighting fires and rescuing kitty cats from trees, firemen enforce the fire code. They enforce building codes. If the fireman walks into a restaurant and the restaurant says capacity 100 people and he sees 200 people crammed in, he closes it down. Firemen have law enforcement authority on many things. Here's how a fireman makes an arrest. A fireman calls the police and tells the police that person is under arrest. They are not complying with the fire code, and that person is under arrest. The fireman that I'm aware of does not handcuff someone himself. And the fireman that I'm aware of does not carry a gun himself. He might have 1,000,000 guns for his personal use, but not his professional use. Therefore, when a fireman, in my jurisdiction anyway, walks into a gun shop, he has to comply with the same laws that anybody else does. Okay? There are special fire investigators. They are firemen that take a special test and get a special job and they investigate arson, they don't have to comply with the ban because they carry a gun for their job. Okay? Parking authority. Parking authority works for the government. They work for the city. They give you a ticket. They don't carry a gun. Therefore, when they buy a personal gun, comply with the ban. Now, if you work as a bodyguard, say I got a job as a bodyguard, a celebrity wanted me to work, protect them, okay? I have a job that requires me to carry a gun. But I work for the celebrity. I don't work for the government. You have to work for the government and carry a gun for your job. If not, comply with the ban. That's in my state. Your state might allow a fireman to buy a 500-round magazine. Okay. Good. Good for him. Right on. Let me check my time. I'm way under the time, I know that, but let me check. 6:04. Time flies when you're talking about guns. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm like a wimp now. Okay, the pre-ban and gun broker. Gun broker is eBay for gun nuts. Gun accessories, gun this, gun that. Obviously, gun broker has laws. Don't think you're gonna buy a 50 caliber machine gun on gun broker and get it sent to your house. No. Gun broker has laws. Gun broker has regulations. Like if you want to buy a gun on gun broker, many of the guns that are for sale on gun broker will say, we have to mail this gun to a dealer in your area and the dealer has to sign off on it. Whatever. Okay? But gun broker has laws. So if you're a criminal, don't think you're going to go on gun broker and get around it. Okay? Fuck it. You're not. You're going to be complying with laws too. There are more laws on gun broker than anywhere else in the world because the gun broker is pretty much interstate. Now, I went on gun broker several times. I've never actually bought anything on gun broker, but I've been a member for over 2 years. And I went looking for pre-ban magazines for a while. And I said, you know what? I want to buy a pre-ban magazine, but I want it to be new in the box. Okay. Pre-ban magazines are 16 years old or earlier. Do you want to buy a 16-year-old car that was never driven? So, I rationed that, okay, I could spend a very long time waiting for a pre-ban magazine, fresh in the box, never opened, and pay a shitload of money for it, like over $100, or I could bite the bullet, no pun intended, and I could settle for a magazine that is lightly used, like new condition. Fine. I wanted two, but the auction I found was only one. The auction I found was run by a woman, believe it or not. There are women gun nuts, and they're cool. So this woman had a pre-ban magazine, one. And she wanted X amount of dollars for it. I'm not going to tell you how much she wanted, but it was a lot. And I bought it off her. She said it was lightly used. She had 3,000 plus positive feedback. So I figured, what the hell? She's not lying. And I paid her money. Now I, for a while, was thinking, you know what? The ban isn't going to last forever. New York will overturn the ban sooner or later. Might as well hold out. Well, I don't want to get political on my show because I just don't. But put it this way. New York State isn't going to abolish the ban anytime soon. So the day after Election Day, I went on to Gun Broker and I bought a pre-ban magazine. Because remember, they're not making these anymore. They're pre-ban. Okay? It's like asking for a 1964 Mustang to be made. It's not going to be made. It was made in 1964. Okay? That's it. And they're expensive. But in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it's going to be more expensive. Okay? True. They are. You got to deal with that. So I went on, I bought it, and I got it. And I tested it out. Put the rounds in it. Put it in. Rack the slide, make sure it all ejected out. I noticed the problem with the magazine. I was like, oh, fuck. I would take a fully loaded magazine. Safety check. Take a fully loaded magazine, put it in. Obviously, finger off the trigger, aim away. Very careful. For you safety nuts. And I could not eject this fucking magazine. And the only way I knew to get it clear was how? That gets it clear. And then I ejected the magazine and still had a hard time getting out, and I pulled the fucking thing out. Now I'm thinking to myself, damn it, the magazine is broken. And I tried it 3 times. I tested the magazine twice. I figured maybe if you put the ammunition and let the spring get adjusted, maybe the ammunition, the top round is a little tilted. What the fuck? So then I go onto the eBay page, the gun broker page, I'm sorry, and I read the description. It is a non-drop magazine. What the fuck does that mean? I looked it up. I had to look it up. Now, keep in mind this. This magazine is a 1990 series magazine. The ban went into effect in 1994. I was 8 when this was made, and I was 12 when the ban was put into effect. I have every single gun law memorized in my state. I have every single safety rule memorized. I can sing to you about gun safety. Well, I can't sing, but you get the idea. But I am not John Browning. There's a lot I don't know about the actual mechanics of the gun. Here's what the drop magazine means. Okay? A regular magazine, let me check the time again. Sorry about that. 11:42. Wrap this up real fast and go into part 3. A regular magazine, whether it's loaded or unloaded, you put it in, take it out. Not a problem, right? This non-drop bullshit magazine, it will not eject if there are more than 5 rounds in it. So you have a fully loaded magazine that's non-drop. Don't forget, this is 20-year-old technology here, or more. You have to take the slide, rack it 1,000,000 times, 10 or 12 times, hit the button. It's still going to be a little tough to get out. Pull it out. Bend over, pick up every single round you dropped on the floor. Check the chamber again. Count every single round to make sure nothing is missing. The dog and cat aren't going to eat them. Your kid is going to eat them. Reload the fucking magazine. So, this is what I do. Do you keep a magazine in your gun? I do. I keep a newer magazine in my gun at all times. Okay, and the pre-ban magazine is a backup magazine. Okay, how do you safety check the gun? Push the button, magazine comes out. Rack the slide. 2 steps. That's a hell of a lot better than rack the slide 8, 9 times. Yank the magazine out. Pick the ammo up. Count the ammo. Check the chamber again. Blah, blah, blah. So, in closing, if you have a newer communist post-ban magazine and the older, cooler pre-ban magazine, use the communist magazine in the gun at all times, even when you're carrying it. That way, it's so much easier to safety check. Okay? And keep the communist magazine as a backup magazine. Or, let's face it, when you go to the range, you're going to be shooting anyway, right? You're going to be emptying the magazine anyway. It doesn't matter. So, do it that way. Check our time again. 14:04.